So right here we're tacking on the lower shock mounts on the rear arms. We're going to install the king shock and move it around and make sure the coil spring in the base isn't going to hit anything. Here we're drilling out the rear riveted on plate on the 2020 and up model Defenders. You're going to drill these holes. Once you pop these rivets out, you're going to drill the holes up to 1/2 inch. Once that's complete, now we're going to prep for the washer, the weld washers to be welded on. Here we're cleaning up and taking off all the high spots of the factory welds, and here we're removing all the paint to get a good solid non-porosity weld. And then we're going to install the bolts with the washers and tack weld them on. At this point, you can see they're tacked on. You'll go ahead and weld them all the way around. And then we're going to install the rear hitch and move forward with the link bars. Alright, so basically the entire rear suspension is completely tacked up. All the link bars, A-arms, everything now in the back is basically ready to be welded out. Gonna put my tabs on here still. These tabs are already here. Gonna be a little mini link bar here to support the winch and any receiver hitch load that's gonna be pulling down. So and throw our tabs on this side. Link bars don't add any drag. You can see there, it's clearly, if you get on a plane, same plane as the rear arm, that rear link bar is nowhere near dragging, unless you were like at a 45-degree angle or water wheeling or something. But if you're water wheeling, you're not worried about dragging. So turn out pretty slick. Here we're tacking and welding the subframe that goes on the front of the machine on the lower control arms. This allows the machine to be able to flex more without having axle problems, and it also increases the frame strength in the front lower section of it. Here we are test fitting the new subframe. You have to trim out a little bit of the existing frame with a cutoff wheel, and then the subframe fits right up in place. Factory bolts go back in. In the final installation, you'll see we provide a spacer to fill that gap, and then there's still access to your front diff bolts, as you can see in that quick pass by there. And here we are drilling the front upper holes out to 5/8 for weld washers and for the 5/8 bolt upgrade with the Heim joints. Here we're starting the removal of the stock trans and installation of the X3 transmission. Alright, so we got the exhaust off, harness unplugged. The two stud bolts on this side are off. The rear mount is off. So we flip the gas tank up out the way, and you can get to your actuator way easier. You don't have to move the gas tank, but makes it quite a bit easier if you take the extra few minutes and unbolt it and flip it up out the way. We got the fluid draining right now, and then we'll remove the four-wheel drive actuator. We'll remove the stud on this side behind the actuator, and then we're going to lift the transmission out. Before installing an X3 trans, there's some bench work that needs to be done to it. Drilling some mount holes out, surfacing a mounting surface, and tapping the actuator holes before you install it. Upgrading to the X3 transmission really gets rid of a couple weak links, primarily being the turf mode and the reverse chain. So the X3 transmissions do not have that. They are gear-to-gear reverse, and they run a solid locked spool in the back. Also allows you to run a level 3 rear axle, much larger, stronger for big tire applications. And here we are disassembling everything, getting ready to fully weld and take to powder coat. Here we're finishing up the front. Probably made 5 different sets of shock mounts in the upper portion of the frame. Just couldn't get something that I liked the way it looked and I liked the way that it functioned. Took a couple tries, a lot of thoughts and processes here going through my mind. And then once we got what we liked, ran a couple cycles on it, see if it's everything we hoped for, and it was. So we're prepping the other side and getting ready to make the final mounts for it and get the front end torn apart to go to powder coat as well. Alright, we got the transmission masked off. We got all of our welding done, all of our washers. Put a weld in there, tie the frame together. Getting ready to paint this. And then we got the front done as well. Just sandblasted it. Got rid of all the loose paint. One washer there and one washer there. You don't have access really to this. If you do, you're gonna melt the plastic. The front, you don't need a bushing because the front link bar kit we put in here is a frame stiffener and it's 1/4 inch thick, and the bottom doesn't need it because we put a subframe in and there's no longer a load on a single bolt. With that subframe bolted in, if say you impact something on the left or the right, it's loading all 4 bolts on the bottom instead of just one side. So there's no need to add a frame stiffener or increase anything to these. So get ready. We'll tape the diff up and get this painted. All right, this last clip here for episode 2, we're throwing some gloss black paint on all of our prepped metal that we welded on front and rear. And with episode 3 coming up, is going to be the installation of everything and the final product. If y'all like what I'm putting out there, please like and subscribe to keep this content rolling. I already have a few more Defender builds lined up, along with some how-to stuff already recorded. Looking forward to uploading soon. Everybody take care.